Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you with some value to scale your business and to become a better leader and push yourself out of your comfort zone. We encourage you to like and share with everyone to spread our messages. I'm super excited to announce our new partnership with Weathermatic. For most landscape companies, irrigation is an untapped gold mine for growth and profit, but labor and process problems stand in the way. So Weathermatic has created a partnership to package mobile technology and software with proven business solutions to tackle the perennial irrigation challenges and take your operations to a whole new level. I encourage you to reach out to Weathermatic and learn more. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clixby with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. I'm delighted to have Doug York, the President, CEO of Ewing, join me today. Doug, thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thank you. Nice to see you, Robert.
So, Doug, I'd love to, obviously everybody knows the name Ewing, but I'd love to just hear your story, your background. Such an amazing company, great brand out in the marketplace, but I'd love to just hear your own personal story about how you grew up in the company and how you've grown it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always fun to talk about your business. So the business started in San Francisco in 1922. My grandfather showed up from St. Louis as an ex-golf pro in 1938. I started trying to enjoy the business. I was going to go off on his own in 1942, and the gentleman who owned the company at the time, I said, well, I'm going to keep the construction arm. They were a waterworks contractor primarily, and I'll let you take over the distribution arm. So we worked out a deal and started buying the company. He changed the name in 47 to Ewing Turf Products. And at the time, he got super involved and was a founding member of the Northern California Turfgrass Council. The market at the time was cast iron, primarily golf course, and San Francisco, because of World War II, had a big military presence, and cemeteries were a big customer. They had designers on staff, and some of them predominant designers for golf market today. Russ Mitchell's still in business in Northern California. At one point worked for Ewing. My mom and dad showed up in 1964. Richard and the three of us were already born. Doug, Dave, and Richard. I'm a twin, believe it or not.
Cool.
I was born in 61, and my younger brother, Richard, is born in 63. And so we moved from Idaho back to the Bay Area to run the family business, and we were a Buckner distributor. And at the time, irrigation was the only thing we did. We had gotten out of the fertilizer business, so we changed our name to Ewing Irrigation Products. And my dad was trying to find his way, and he got super excited about the business in the mid-70s. We expanded outside of our geographically designated area for manufacturing more than once, but we went to Southern California in 1982 and hired a gentleman named Raul Gonzalez, and that was a big move at that time, because the manufacturers had exclusive distribution arrangements in markets, and you weren't supposed to cross those boundaries, and we did. And so we brought on computers in the mid 80s, and by the end of the decade, all our branches were connected via 56K multi-point line, and so we were able to do things to be more efficient. We moved to Arizona and we opened a store in 1985. I believe we opened in Nevada in 1989. And at one point we had more locations in the country than anybody else. And we were doing centralized buying, and we started growing. And I believe Century Rain Aid sold to a company that started doing roll-ups, and they acquired a bunch of distributors on the East Coast. And we sort of had a handshake deal with those guys. We were going to stay west of the Mississippi, and they were going to stay east of the Mississippi. So we expanded to Texas in 93, and we kept growing the business, and primarily focused just on irrigation, drainage, and landscape lighting. We were super involved in landscape lighting. The other market that we enjoyed or were super active in was micro irrigation, or the drip business. Right. My parents were super involved in the Irrigation Association. They both are past presidents. I actually followed in their footsteps and had past president of the Irrigation Association. Cool. As well. By 97, we had expanded to Atlanta, and I believe we went into the Florida market in 2002-ish, somewhere in that range. And so the business has done well, obviously, with the entrance of private equity and John Deere tried to roll up the market to get closer to their customers, and that wasn't successful. So they sold to CDR. CDR became SiteOne. The manufacturers were very antsy around what I would call professional or financially engineered companies that were being managed for shareholders and other things besides just the contractor. If you think about the industry, at one point we had probably a couple of hundred independent small distributors around the country, and today there's four big guys and then not very many little guys left. And so I knew that we needed to grow and continue to expand. I became president in 2001, and we just literally started trying to sort of keep up. At that time, if you think about the housing boom of the early 2000s, Home Depot, Walmart, everybody was on a tear to get geography and scale. And so we were no different. And so we just started putting, branches around the country, and the recession hit. At one point, I was wondering if we had too many stores. We did close some stores in 2010, 10 of them exactly, and then continued to grow the business, work on the culture, create an environment where customers would be satisfied doing business with us, and we were consistent in markets. And so as we came out of the recession and when COVID hit, it really helped us improve our financial situation. Most of our expenses tanked, business stayed there, and we're able to really get ourselves on a good footing, and we've continued to grow after that. The other thing, my grandfather was a golf distributor originally. We sort of left the golf market when Buckner got out of the golf market and came back to the golf market when Hunter Industries got back in the golf market in 2000. And I think it was 2016 when Rainbird asked us to take over Arizona, and we decided to give that a try. And now we sell Rainbird Golf in Arizona, Southern Nevada, and a lot of the East Coast states, most of I-95 from Connecticut down to Atlanta, which is a good supplement for our landscape contractor business. But it's been fun to do that piece of the business. If you look at the global spend on irrigation primarily, golf's about 6 to 8% of the market nationally on an annualized basis. The golf industry currently is under a lot of pressure because of aging systems. And so there's a lot of opportunity for redoing of golf courses. But from my standpoint, it kind of takes us back a little bit to our heritage. So that's been fun to be in that business and continue to be helping those superintendents and contractors do a better job. Overall, the other piece of business we've added since, so it's 2023, so about 2005-6 years ago, so 17, I guess, 18, we started getting into the bulk material business. I know SiteOne's in the same place. Heritage has bought a few hardscape yards, but we're excited about that. We see it as a really great adjacent channel, and we'll continue to add those services across the country to help service our customers. And one of the things I think, if we can do a good job with that as well as we do with the other piece of business, then that'll really help our customers be more efficient and give them one place to basically count on us to supply consistently on time deliveries so their guys aren't standing around. So we're up to 22 yards, Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. So the 250
Cool.
locations nationally.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One of our past calls, you talked about your heritage, and you said there was some Scottish connection.
Yeah,
I believe.
So Ewing is a McEwen is the official name. So the McEwens are the lowland farmers of Scotland, and very much with plants and water. And if you go look at the tartan and look it up, it's kind of ironic. That's the space we're in today.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, actually, I thought.
Very cool. Very cool. So, I mean, I know you're president and CEO, and you're looking at the marketplace and seeing what competitors are doing. I mean, how does your role play into that? I mean, are you the visionary of the company, where we're going to take it? Do you have almost like a leadership or management team to help you, bring you back that data and research? How does the whole, I suppose, growth model look like?
One of the things, so we're only as good as we are at the counter in our stores, and landscaping supply hasn't been e-commerce very well. It's hard to ship a 50-pound bag of fertilizer, and if you take all the little parts we have in our stores, each store has roughly 3,200 line items, varying from 50-pound bags of fertilizer down to half-inch PVC 90. And so it's really hard to kind of do that on a website online to order. We've tried hard to build our commerce sites so customers can find it easy, but by and large, Amazon's not going to come into our space. And so
Right.
transactions at the counter are super important. And so one of the things I realized back when I was running branches, or even before that, when I was just a truck driver, a human being can only handle about 50 people effectively, from either following up, guiding goals, creating career paths. And so our regional managers, when we set that up, we try to keep them somewhere between 9 and 14 locations. And so that in itself, they at one point all reported to me. And then we sort of divided them up. And so we have layers, but they're all very designed around either geography or regions where it makes sense. So, for example, our gentleman who runs, we'll call it Riverside County, San Bernardino County, and San Diego, in that market, he's responsible for those two marketplaces. So there's another gentleman responsible for Los Angeles. And ironically, the San Diego customer doesn't go north to Orange County. It's just one of those geographies so you need a guy that's very localized in that market. Same with Las Vegas. Same with even Dallas. The Dallas guy doesn't go anywhere else outside of Dallas. And so we created this regional manager job, and in the regional manager, we've created divisions. And so as I look at running the business, I've got people out sort of executing on our strategy and our plan. And then I try to stay engaged. One, where we're going as far as growth, new opportunities, but two, as almost a cheerleader to the field to kind of make sure, because we have a purpose statement, lean on us to grow take care of your business and be more profitable. And so from my standpoint, my goal today, after we set strategy and goals for the year and set comp plan and all that stuff, is to be out in the field, helping our regions or our branches feel the passion around being in this space. And so it's a little bit of a rah-rah cheerleader and a little bit of a visionary role today. I do have some very good people on our executive team that have tons of experience in different aspects. And it's been very helpful for me to have people to lean on when it comes to questions about, what's going on in these different markets, or why are we not performing well here as we are here. And I'm a big trust guy. I sort of trust first, and then if it doesn't work, then it's either my fault or theirs. We'll work through it and try it again.
Right. Yep. I use the term trust but verify.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love that, how you're not only the visionary, but that cheerleader. And I think that is a true visionary, that they're able to just go out to be that cheerleader and improve the culture. Now, one of the things you must do as a visionary is just see what sort of trends are coming down the pipeline. You're probably talking to some of your clients, some of the landscape companies, golf courses, just seeing what's going on in the industry, whether it be robotics or improvements in IT. What's some of the things you're seeing, 1, 3, 5 years out in terms of changes in technology or even innovation?
Well, one trend I see, which I don't know what we're doing about, is that any construction site today, the labor force has a cell phone. And historically, you see 4 guys working and 2 guys on their phones. That wasn't the case 5 years ago. And so that's been a change that at some point we're going to have to deal with it as a channel in the construction industry. The biggest trend, I think, today, I mean, there's one really powerful trend out there that I think we're not talking about enough, is the values of landscapes in real estate. If you look at the appreciation of the average house or even the building, the shortage of homes, landscapes have become super important to these owners to add value to their investments. And so if you go back to even 30 years ago, which seems like a long time in a sense, but it isn't that long, that landscapes were an afterthought. The kitchen, the garage, the sofa, the great room, whatever, was a much more important aspect to the construction industry. And today the site improvements are everything from hardscapes, flooring the ground, to plant choice, to how we water, micro irrigation. Outdoor lighting is much more prolific with the LED lights now that are warm and look like halogen. And so from my standpoint, the big trend is that our business has much more value than it did 20 years ago. The installed value is much greater than it used to be. And so I find that as from my standpoint, I remember as a fresh out of college, I was always frustrated why can't the gardener get paid like the electrician? And I think today we're finally getting to the point. And I feel really good about that as far as the future of the industry. Just sort of, micro trends. The synthetic turf thing is for real. Grass, because it's easy to put down, easy to mow, it's pretty, uses water, and if the turf's not getting used recreationally, I think synthetic turf is here to stay. It's expensive to install. It lasts about 7 or 8 years. There's a renewable factor there. The product is much more attractive than it ever has been. So that's something. A hardscape, you need to be aware of that. You need to be thinking about, if I'm not installing the paver or granite or creating planter beds with mulch or something to enhance the property, somebody's going to. I might end up maintaining that at some point, but I need to put that in my repertoire. I don't need to be afraid of it. Low voltage lighting has gotten very inexpensive because transformer costs have come way down. Wire is wire. The fixtures are sort of bottomed out. And so from that standpoint, the ease of installing a system that works all the time is really high. So those three things in itself are things that sometimes maybe people wouldn't do, or they'd sub out for somebody else to do. I just think those are things you need to add to your book because they're just here to stay, and they add value to your business and help you, and they add profits too. So we're we have very active training and all those things, and we're always super excited about helping our customers try to figure out ways to grow. I know there's a big roll up right now in the lawn fertilizer, the spray market. There's an acronym for that, and I can never remember it, where they're spraying lawns.
Yeah, chem lawn, or under the plant healthcare piece.
Yeah, but there's that's going on, and there's a roll up in that space. That business for you who's been watching that guy spray your property you're maintaining, the homeowners, so you can learn that business. It's pretty annualized. It's rocket science to an extent, but it's not unheard of, trying to figure it out, and that's a good opportunity for you as well.
Yeah, and nice margins. Spraying chemicals. So no,
very
I agree.
Razor blade business. It happens every year. So.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, when you look at what landscaping can do to increasing the value of either your house or your commercial landscaping, I mean, some people say, somewhere in that 10-15%. I see a lot more people invest in, outdoor living spaces, whether it be, shade structures, artificial turf, bocce courts, picnic areas, sitting area, barbecues. I mean, it's all there. So I agree 100%. So yeah, nice being part of that supplier chain to be able to supply those companies. When you talked about, 250 branches is obviously a lot of branches, a lot of people. One of our initial conversations, you talked about how people were really important to you, having that great culture, making sure, you take care of your people, you train your people. How do you, yes, I know you have your regional managers, but a lot of that vision, that culture comes from the top. How do you get that from, your passion around people and taking care of people all the way down to your counter workers and making sure they're happy and they buy into the Ewing
it's hard, let me tell you. But so my dad was a big get everybody together guy, and he thought that was super important. At the time, a lot of his competitors were, shaking their heads trying to figure out how they could afford that, how we could afford that. But he always felt like, well, if we can't afford that, then why are we in business? And so we started, back when I was just coming out of college, we had manager meetings every month, and then we had them every other month. And in that, there was always a lot of training. And 2002 or 3, I was in charge of payroll as well as president at the time. And I was frustrated with the fact that after 90 days, they would submit a probationary raise. They made it through their 90-day probationary period, and now they get another 50 cents.
Okay.
And I was like, well, wait, what did we get for that? And so we came up with a way to build classes around operational stuff. So like checking in vendors, doing receiving, doing shipping, And then we just continued to build on these classes, and then we created a university program. And in that, we have 4 or 5 steps. We call it for service professionals. And it lays out a pretty active, pretty in detailed career path for them, but it also gets them very indoctrinated with what we're trying to accomplish in their culture. And then those, as they went through each professional SP1, SP1A, SP2, they would get raises, the field would get raises, but they'd also have a one-on-one assessment with somebody in the market that had been certified as an assessor. And so the combination of those two things is what gives us our Ewing service level. And we all talk about service, we all talk about culture. And I think the biggest thing that I try to impart on our people is that this is a family, and family cares, and families fight and they bicker. But at the end of the day, we always try to get better. And we do, honestly, I do care about people's well-being. Somebody's performance is off, and then you find out they're going through a divorce, and then I try to sort of, is there anything we can do to help? A lot of times, no, I'm fine, but other times, yeah, I'm struggling. My daughter's in college. I need a little help here or there, and I try to help them. That's just what we do.
That's cool.
But if they're gonna, at the end, if you're not really gonna have that kind of caring culture, you're not gonna be able to service customers in the way I want to be treated. And so that's my thing. I want people to leave our place feeling like they were treated well, and and they were treated fairly. They didn't have to take advantage of us. We didn't take advantage of them. They had a good experience. Our consistency of the same vendor in every store. So like in Los Angeles, especially along I-10 from Santa Monica to Palm Springs, some guys will go in our stores 2 or 3 times as they service their clients down I-10, and it helps them.
No, I agree, and that was the same way we approached. When I had my business, this, if we take care of our employees, then that should then be passed on to how we take care of our clients, whether it be on a job site, just that interaction. So I 100% agree with that. One of the things you also mentioned is that I think you just celebrated a big anniversary.
Yeah,
and
100-year party. Yeah, we had.
That must have been exciting.
Oh, it was interesting. It was exciting. Memorial Day of 2023. We had started a tradition of company parties in Las Vegas back in the 90s, and we outgrew numerous hotels. And then in 2008, I had made a deposit to do we had done one in 05. We were going to do it every 3 years in 08, and the recession hit. And so we canceled that party. We hadn't done anything since. And so I always wanted to do one more. And so we had 30,000 people at the Mandalay Bay, and husband and wives. They had to be on the payroll before December or before January. And, we didn't charge them much. We charged them enough to make sure they showed up, but other than that, it wasn't a lot. And then we had a good time. I hired a really great keynote speaker, General Mattis, talked to us. We were very proud about that. And as he says, call me Jim. I retired from the general job. He doesn't talk to a lot of people. He was an irrigator in junior high and high school in Eastern Washington with lateral move farming systems. So he was excited about that. So he wanted to come see this company. And then we had Jason Aldean play for us the night of the big party.
Cool.
Yeah, it was fun. We spent a lot of money. I mean, I would guess our competitors at the time at 23, when the market was sort of flat, they probably wouldn't have done that. But I thought it was more important to celebrate 100 years than and really kind of show the world what we're about. We made a nice history book out of the deal, and it's kind of crazy what we've accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been fantastic. 30,000 people, including their, the wives or partners. It just gets everybody excited. There must have been a buzz for months and months around that event, before and after.
There was a lot of excuse me, goodwill. I think there's some still today. People are excited. It's funny, they're like, when are we do the next one? I'm like, not for a while.
Maybe 50,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So what does growth look like for you, over the next, I don't know, 3-5 years? More branches, looking at different spaces in the marketplace? What are some of the things?
Well, we still have a lot of geography to fill in. Markets like Florida, the East Coast, we're still, I mean, like 46% of the people in the United States live in the Eastern time zone. And, we're nowhere near the density we have in Texas or California in the East. And so there's a lot of opportunities there. I mean, obviously not as much landscape intensive sites, but still a lot of landscaping, a lot of turf and ornamental. Um, and so we have a lot of opportunity there, and also an opportunity with golf. Um, I also think the bulk material supply aspect is an adjacent channel alongside our traditional irrigation landscape supply stores is a great business model. We're barely started in that, and like I said, I'm super bullish on the market. I think if you look at the inflation in home values over the last 4 years, and the fact that interests are higher than they're traditionally, historically, they're not high yet, but from a 20-year past history, they seem high, and so I think people are going to harvest those inflated values in their homes and second mortgages and do some things. Honestly, I think that was a Home Depot's strategy around the acquisition of SRS Roofing and Heritage. And we'll see, we got to see how they perform. But I mean, and from my standpoint, I mean, that's the opportunity out there. And so I think site improvements, site enhancements, we're still in a housing shortage. Fundamentally, theoretically short 8 million homes. We averagely build 1 million homes a year. If you go back to the housing boom of sort of 99 to 2005, those homes are now 25 years old and actually affordable and, ripe for remodels. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to propel us for the next 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure what the 30s are going to look like. In theory, if you listen to the pundits, Social Security, Medicare is going to run out of money. Things are going to be a little wonky, but my goal is to, make us really solvent, really strong, and grow us like crazy for the next 4 or 5 years to get us sort of in place for the future.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I even just think about, when I was back in Phoenix, a lot of those homes there are 25, 30, 40 years old and all have irrigation systems that probably need replaced. So you're right there on their doorstep.
Yeah.
Doug, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Any final parting words for maybe up and coming entrepreneurs that are just getting into the space? I see more and more companies that are, leaving their W-2 jobs, whatever, even in office type building jobs, moving into buying small landscape companies, irrigation, the tree companies, just because they recognize it's such a great space. It flies under the radar. It does well in good and bad times. So what's your message to some of those up and coming entrepreneurs?
Well, two things. One, we work for people, but and customers, the plant, right? And so the plant is very resistant to financial times. And so, from our standpoint, I think it's thrilling. We're in a very sustainable market. Obviously, private equity finance world's found us. Returns are decent, and they're consistent. I think they're not spiky, but we do move with housing, so be aware of that. But the other thing is to then build some teams, find some people that you think have the ability to grow with your vision and dream, and trust them. Put them in charge of something and let them run with it. And if they make a few errors, that's fine. That's the only way you can grow is failure. You see all the podcasts and stuff on Instagram these days about these guys that message, I didn't grow when I was winning. I only grew when I lost. It's absolutely true. I mean,
yeah.
And then, I think involving your kids and your spouse at an early age about what you're trying to accomplish is super important. We tend to sort of like poo-poo, I'm a gardener, I don't want to talk about it, but I think that's bullshit. I think there's some really great businesses out there that guys have done a really fantastic job and been successful and creating great gardening companies. And it's a desire. Your friends will be, or your friends of friends, or your parents' friends will be really interested in talking to you about how to make their sites better. And they don't, the banker, the lawyer, and the doctor aren't near as cool as you are. And if you don't really embrace that, then at some point your business is not going to be very successful. But if you embrace that, you're really going to do well.
Yeah, there's a lot of money. People made some great money in the landscape business, even though it's a dirty business. So
Yeah.
great words of wisdom. Doug, again, thank you again for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate the time. I know you're a busy person, growing all these branches, but I look forward to some further conversations.
Yep.
If people want to check out Ewing, what's the best way for them to find out a little bit more about what they offer?
Well, our website's Ewing out. We changed our name again. So when we had our 100-year anniversary party, we decided we wanted to be, we know our roots are in irrigation, but we wanted to kind of market more to the whole marketplace. So we changed our name to Outdoor Supplies. So EwingOutdoorSupply.com.
Okay, cool. So check it out there. So awesome. Thank you again, Doug. Really
Thanks.
appreciate it. I really appreciate your time.
Great. Thanks,
Okay.
Richard. Be
Right,
good.
cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully that was pure, dead brilliant for you today, and you got some great takeaways for your business or your leadership role. This is Robert Clickybeard. We'd love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. So please subscribe to our various podcast channels or visit thecommerciallandscaper.com or wilson360.com. Love you to join you there. We have our new 360 Plus community program we'd love you to sign up for. It's on the far right-hand side of our website. Thanks again for our partner, Weathermatic, and I encourage you to reach out to them. Have a pure, dead, brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.